Hello, my name is Kal Molinet from Richmond, Virginia, and I'm an anarchist.
Tyler, also an anarchist.
And today we bring to you the news from Underground, covering a story about how Bitcoin is for the privileged. Actually, this talks about this blogger called Annie-Rose Strasser, who writes for the Think Progress, which is a progressive think tank, advocacy group. Of course, progressive being code for, I don't know anything about economics, give me free money. And so, of course, she talks about a particular survey that she found online in which after surveying 1,000 Bitcoin users, it's been found that males are predominantly the ones who use Bitcoin in that survey. And so she uses that particular piece of information to show, I guess, how bigoted it is, because it seems to adhere to the privileged few, the wealthy few, the white male. And so I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because she addresses a lot of interesting points that she doesn't quite grasp objectively. This is, of course, that's the narrative of these kind of progressives.
And the point she makes can be solved with Bitcoin.
Yeah, and we're going to illuminate all those particular ways and point by point. So, of course, he says that libertarians or anarcho-capitalists, as the case may be, don't trust the government to manage or handle their money. They're the same people who want to end the Fed. And of course, yes, I do want to end the Fed. Not just one government agency, but all government monopolies. All agencies that are used and forced upon every individual here in the United States of America and the United tax forms of America at gunpoint. And that definitely includes money. It's not that I don't want strangers who call themselves the government to handle money. I don't want to be forced to use that commodity. Remember, money is not no different than any other commodity, different than like a remote, a glass full of vodka, or this particular table. It's just another product that you're forced to trade with for other commodities. It used to be in the past that you could, but when government gets involved, the last thing that they want is competition. So yeah, I just don't like the guns pointed at my face. That's why I don't like the Fed. I don't like the depreciation worth of the dollars that I do earn, and I guess convert them to Bitcoin, of course. But you also have some remarks on the Fed yourself.
So this is the so-called enshrined banking system where most and everything is valued in dollars, and because they've monopolized the currency, they can decide what is valuable, what is not. They can speculate the currency, and also they can inflate it. So their answer to inflation is more inflation. Whereas in this article, she brings up unbanking. Unbanking would be made easier, and you'd be done with it in an appreciating currency as opposed to a depreciating currency through Bitcoin. I would love to live in a day where we're all as privileged to say, there's an app for that. There's an app to go about the, what was it called again?
They call it blockchain. Very easy. Apple has finally succumbed to the demands of the Bitcoin community. Now you can buy apps on their store using Bitcoin. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting technological savvy ways to kind of go around and using currency to trade for these transactions at very cheap and affordable rates, in which, versus the banking system. And for example, no wait long lines with PayPal or transfer money to your local banking institution. It's done instantaneously, and there's no middleman in between that. No fixated costs to kind of rip you off more. And that's kind of what ends up happening when you have government control and intervening in the market with terms of regulation and banking. And so she goes on to say, well, there's a fair amount of privilege built directly into the currency. In order to buy the sometimes wildly expensive currency, Bitcoin users need to be wealthy. So I got involved in Bitcoin myself quite some time ago.
I didn't.
And but he will soon. And many of my friends here now have too in Richmond. And you do not need to be wealthy to buy Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin, the price is around 650 right now. But at the same time, you don't go on and buy a bar of gold. You buy pieces of it, right? Bits of a Bitcoin is what I guess the example it leads to. You don't have to buy $650 worth of a Bitcoin. You can buy pieces of it. $20 investment every 2 weeks, and kind of accumulate and build that up, and then trade. There's also a lot of other alternative currencies out there. It's something that's feasibly accessible to many people, especially since most of those living in poverty have access to cellular mobile phone. They found out there was a UN report that says out of the 7 billion people on this planet, there's 6 billion of them have a mobile device. So you already have access to the internet. You already have access already to a wonderful, beautiful piece of technology that connects individuals from far away, as far as from India to here to the United States, in which you can have these transactions done digitally without that middleman, without government intervenes. Without government forcing you to use their preferred commodity known as, worthless fiat shit dollars.
And to speak to that, when I met you, it was $10 a coin. Now it's, I don't know, 65 times more.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I was cynical. I was skeptical. I didn't get in when it was good. And the fact that it's risen so much is a testament to how many people are really getting into it. You're only delaying the inevitable.
And I would say there's still a lot of time to get in. There's you have, as long as Bitcoin exists, and maybe there might be another preferred currency that comes in afterwards, but there's always time to go in these sort of stuff. There's no indefinite amount of time to go in, and just buy $20 worth, $50 worth every 2 weeks. Just start accruing your capital through that. It's still very cheap in regards to the exponential growth in the last year that it experienced over 1,000%. So I mean, this year there's a lot of people projecting to continue to grow even higher than that. So this is a very pioneering movement. This is a very good time for anyone to still get involved. I would say in the mining aspect area, you probably won't get your return investment, but buy now, buy now. Or find local Bitcoin users. There's a lot of exchanges online, and there's also traders you can find in your local community to kind of find this at very affordable rates. So yeah, plenty of time for you to still get on board with the
problem is that it's still
Bitcoin.
Valued in like US dollars, and that's something that it's hard to track when it comes to an exponential growth curve. So at what point is it going to take off and surpass the US dollar?
You can also value in the number of the increase in users. So disregard the value. Look at the number of users that has exponentially grown, and its attachment. Look at the years of investment in technology and infrastructure towards Bitcoin. PayPal's using it. Again, we mentioned Apple's already accepting it. So there's even a local brewery here in Richmond, Triple Crossing, I believe, across the river, that's using Bitcoin. So a lot of this information is not really much out there, which is why Percy says, well, users have to be wealthy. No, you do not need to be wealthy. There's actually a lot of interesting, awesome organizations out there that focuses on Bitcoin and advocacy groups like
which brings us to post-privilege. The privileged can look out for you. They want you to be as privileged as you. They want to hand you wealth. Bitcoin Not Bombs is donating hoodies to the homeless. They are donating their time, their effort. They want more people to be educated. If you have any questions, go to their site. You can see how to do it, how to set it up, how to make trades, where the currency is going, and where it's been. Full stock options as long as you invest. They've also printed out quick start guides in Spanish to help people here cross the border with their Bitcoin. No transaction fees outside of the peer-to-peer user. Therefore, even if we're just trading as we are here in person, I don't need to make change for him. We pay the transition fee, which is under 1%, and our thing is through. It would be even easier than if you said, hey, do you mind swiping your card? Well, yes, sir, I will. No, there's no need for that. I just push a button on my phone. There we go. Transaction complete. One of the biggest things you can do is avoid taxes. One of the other things you can do is avoid transaction fees. Another thing you can do is make it instant. Wireless. No lines. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And creating a digital wallet is also free. So these are very easy ways, very affordable ways for anyone to do it. You don't need social security numbers. You don't need a credit card or any of these kind of useless, I guess I would say, the technology is advancing.
Get your own bank on, son.
Get on board and ride the future with Bitcoin. And that's essentially where it's going to go. I mean, you look at the loss of value of the fiat currency, and that's lost over 97% of its value. It's got 3% left to go before we're then dealing with the same situation that Venezuela currently is. Runaway inflation. So, I mean, these things eventually just add up. The only thing that can do is just, kind of prolong the inevitable. So, yeah, and there's also a Free Aid Mutual Society up in New Hampshire. And I mean, of course, they're international. They're my friends Stephanie Murphy and Teresa Rank, I think she lives in California, but they do a lot of mutual aid stuff and teaching medicinal uses and, of course, outreach programs for people who are trying to understand Bitcoin. They do a lot of advocacy and a lot of conferences across the country. So, yeah, there's a lot of, and I don't know if they're wealthy, but I will say the advocacy and the kind of activism that they do reaches a lot of people and trying to help this understanding and education of, I guess, the worthless use of fiat currency and the next evolution of money being digital currency, being Bitcoin. And so there's a lot of interesting works out there, as he had mentioned, with Bitcoin's Not Bombs, clothing of the homeless, feeding them. So I mean, that's just many examples to come. And these are just the beginning. These are just the starting points, the pioneers in the movement. So there's a lot of stuff to come in the next few years. I guess that we'll be seeing. We're witness of, which is an incredible moment, I guess, to be living in. To many years to look back and see, where were you when you first heard Bitcoin? So I guess with that, you look at, don't forget, Mitch, you talked about privilege, that the only people who are privileged are those who advocate for government intervenence in the market. For the only people who are privileged, who have status privilege, are those who continue to advocate for stolen money from other people. These progressives who think that they know economics when they don't really look at it objectively, that all their programs and policies are at gunpoint of other people or stealing the wealth from other people. They try to pretend that they're trying to save you, prevent capitalism from hurting you or harming you, but it's socialism, it's that in itself that's robbing you of your wealth.
So why are the prices going up, right? Yeah. So again, if you're privileged, you don't care about the prices coming up. I care if the prices go up. Everyone who's broke cares that the prices go up. It's a lot harder. You get less stuff. Very basic. That's what you have under a fiat currency system. The only way to solve inflation for these people is to inflate it more, which just further taxes the poor class, the working class, anyone who wants to trade and doesn't have the money to trade in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we want to see the one thing that hurts the poor the worst: fiat currency, the Fed. The appreciation of the very dollars that they work really, really hard
in the Fed. Yeah. In the Fed.
And the Fed and all government monopolies. Remember, the advocacy for democracy is an advocacy against the minority. It's this mob rule over the minority. And so with that, this is Kal Molinet signing off.
Don't let the US dollar decide what's valuable. Tyler, anarchist.
See you guys at the Victory Party. Take good care.